But we don't know anyone by the name of Helen. So the people who are sitting, almost 5 Oza boats are there, and all the people are sitting in pairs there. So everywhere, from all the Oza boats, so there is a word telling that the people are asking for the narrator. A person is asking for the narrator, and the person's name they refer it as Helen. So listening to this, these people, means the narrator and narrator's wife, they were shocked because they don't know anyone named Helen. So like this is the reason they are telling that, but we don't know anyone by the name of Helen. They said that they don't know any person by the name of Helen. Lavinia stopped and began to look at me through narrowed lids, much as she had done in the library the evening before. See here, as you all very well know, that the ladies will be a bit jealous. So that's the reason why a narrator got frightened, because for the first time when the ghost got appeared in the room where narrator is there, narrator doesn't want his wife to see the ghost. So in that scene somehow he escaped. He is able to escape from that scene. But now what is happening here, as everybody is calling the narrator, telling that a person named, a ghost named Helen is asking for the narrator. So listening to this, Lavinia, she got very angry and she is looking in a different way towards her husband. And then from different parts of the room, other manipulators began to report. Every plot, one of those 5 Oza boats was calling me by name. I felt my ears grow crimson, purple. So here from everywhere in the room, everyone is calling for one person. He is none other than our narrator. He is not able to understand. He is in a position, complete dilemma. He is unable to understand what to do. Everybody is calling his name. So here his eyes, he felt as if his ears grow crimson, purple, maroon. My wife was looking at me as though I were some peculiar insect. So she is looking at him in a very different way, in a different look. The squeak of Oza boats and the murmur of conversation rose louder and louder, and then I felt my face twitch in the spasm at the idiotic grin. I tried to straighten my writhed features into their usual semblance of humanity. I tried, and as you all very well know, the narrator, he had a drawback. Whenever he is under tension, there is a nerve which drags one side of his mouth, so that it appears an idiotic grin, idiotic laugh on his face. So in this tension, as everybody is calling his name and his wife is becoming so serious, so he is getting that grin and he is trying to control his emotions like anything. Doesn't he look sly? Said Miss Henkel. And then I got up and fled from the room. So he did not understand what to do in that situation. So to get rid of this all people and the situation, he got up and went out of the room. I do not want to know. I went straight upstairs and undressed and crawled into bed and lay there in a burning dark while the last guest girl in the hall below about the wonderful evening she had spent. So here, after leaving the room, even he is not interested to pay any attention what is happening there in the room. So after going into his room, after leaving this place and going into his room, he undressed, crawled means he went into the bed and laid nicely until the last guest. Before the last guest leaving also, she is very vigorously, seriously discussing about the experience what she had that evening. So until the last guest leave the place, he laid there itself on the bed. I lay there while the front door shut after her, and Lavinia's steps came up the stairs and passed the door to the guest room beyond. And then after a couple of centuries elapsed, the clock struck 3 and I dozed off to sleep. So finally, when the last guest went away, Lavinia closed the door and she went to the guest room, and after some time this man went into sleep. So he is conscious until the last person leave their house. Until then he knew after some time the clock struck 3 o'clock and finally he went to bed. At the breakfast table the next morning, there was no sign of my wife. So the next morning, see, the previous night ended very horribly for the narrator. So he understood that his wife got angry on him, and he did not give any chance for her to express her views, and he also tried to escape from his wife. But the next day morning, he is searching for his wife at the breakfast table, but he did not find her there. I concluded she was sleeping late, but Gladolia, upon being questioned, only shook her head, muttered something, and turned the whites of her eyes up to the ceiling. I was glad when the meal was over and hurried to the library for another try at that story. So finally, he is trying to inquire from the servant maid about his wife. He concluded, as he did not see his wife there near the dining table, he concluded that as she has gone bed very late the previous night, she might be sleeping. So he tried to inquire from the servant maid, but he did not get the relevant answer. After completing the breakfast, he went to the library once again. He sat and tried to write the story. I had hardly seated myself at the desk when there came a tap at the door and a white slip of paper slid under it. I unfolded it and read. So when he was sitting there and trying to write the story, when he is trying to recollect all his ideas and trying to write the story, at that time he saw one paper flying there, and he opened the paper to see what is there in it. So in the paper it is written like this: Dear John, I am going back to my grandmother. My lawyer will communicate with you later. So what is there in the letter there? It is addressed, the letter is addressed to Mr. John, and it is written by, so the words are here like this in the letter: I am going to my grandmother. So the letter, the lady who wrote, she is telling that I am going to my grandmother's house and my lawyer will communicate with you that what we are going to do further. Oh, I cried. Oh, I wish I was dead. So John, what's the fear he had about what he frightened? The same thing happened. This is the letter written by John's wife. So he is feeling as if he is dead there. He did not like what happened. And that's exactly what you ought to be, said that horrible voice from the other end of the room. See here comes the ghost again. The ghost got reappeared again. And what the ghost is telling from the other end of the room, the ghost is telling like this: that's exactly what you ought to be. So exactly what you should face, the same thing happened to you. Some words, some voice is coming from one side of the room. Said that horrible voice from the other end of the room. From the other end of the room, one horrible voice came telling that what should happen to you, exactly the same thing happened. It's very good. Like that, the horrible voice mentioned there. I sat up abruptly, means very quickly, unwantedly he sat there. I had sunk into a chair under the blow of the letter. Then I dropped back again and my hair rose in a thick prickle on the top of my head. Coming majestically across the floor towards me was a highly polished pair of thick laced shoes. I stared at them in a sort of dreadful fascination, and then something about their gait attracted my attention and I recognized them. So he did not like what is there in the letter. Listening to the voice again, finally abruptly all of a sudden he sat back in the chair and left the letter which is there in his hand, and then he is able to see something slowly which is got appearing there, starting from the shoes, from the feet, something is started appearing there. See here, I said sternly. What do you mean by appearing here like this? So again, see here, what is the meaning? Why are you appearing like this here once again? Is a question arised now. I can't help it, said the voice. So the voice which is coming from one side, as this man is totally under tension, under pressure, as if his wife is going to leave him and go forever. This man is feeling very bad. The voice is telling from one side, I can't help it, I can't help you in any of the way, which seemed to come from a point about 5.5 feet above the shoes. See, by this time the voice is coming, but the appearance of the ghost is not completed. He is able to see the shoes only, and the voice is coming almost 5 to 5.5 feet above from the shoes. I raised my eyes and presently distinguished her round protrude mouth. So he raised from the shoes, he raised his eyes, and finally is able to see the mouth of the ghost from which the voice is coming out. Why can't you? A nice way to act, to walk in sections. So why can't you help me? A nice way you are walking, sections wise you are appearing. Why can't you help me in this matter? If you'll give me time, said the mouth in an exasperated voice, I assure you the rest of me will presently arrive. But what's the matter with you? You never acted this way before. She seemed stung to make a violent effort for a portion of a fishy eye, and the end of her nose popped into view with a suddenness that made me jump. So he is questioning, previously you have never arrived like this. Slowly, all as a person you came out and I used to talk, but what happened this time? So why are you coming like this? The narrator questioned the ghost. Slowly, one part after another part, finally, and the nose popped out, and which created a sort of sudden excitement to the narrator. It's all your fault. She glared at me while part of her hair and her plaid skirt began slowly to take form. So here the ghost is criticizing the narrator, telling that it is all your part. When the ghost is telling like this, slowly her skirt and the remaining parts started appearing. My fault. Of course, how can you keep a lady up working all night and then expect her to retain all her faculties the next day? I am just too tired to materialize. So here the ghost is criticizing the narrator, telling that it is all your fault. So then the narrator is asking how it will be his fault. The ghost is telling like this, why have you left the lady through all night working out on her own thoughts? It's very difficult to materialize, because what he did, the narrator, the last night, as he knew that his wife is upset, he did not try to convince her. He just left her and he went to bed. So because of, as he couldn't convince her the whole night, she was working on the same thoughts, and finally she has taken this decision. This is the explanation given by the ghost to the narrator. Then, why did you bother? Because I was sent to ask when your wife is going to get rid of that Overboard. So why do you bother about her? And so why do you bother about my wife? The narrator asked. So the ghost is telling that again she was sent here to ask the narrator when his wife is going to get rid of the Overboard. As we all very well know that the ghost already mentioned to the narrator, telling that he should not allow any of his friends or the people whom you know not to use that Overboard. So, but his wife only started using. That's why the ghost was sent to him again to inquire when his wife is going to get rid of that Overboard. How should I know? I wish to heaven I would never seen you. I cried, look what you have done. You have lost me my wife. You have lost me my home and happiness. You have. So here he is telling, how would I know? How can I tell you when my wife will get rid of the Overboard? It is you. Because of you, I lost my wife, my happiness, my everything. You are the reason for everything. The narrator started blaming the ghost now. Mr. Hallock came from the hall outside. Mr. Hallock, I Gwen, I quit. I don't like no hoodoos, and the steps retreated. You have lost me my cook. I didn't come here to be abused, said the ghost coldly. And then the door opened and Lavinia entered. She wore the brown hat and coat she usually travels in and carried a suitcase which she sat down on the floor. So here the narrator is directly abusing the ghost, and the ghost is telling that I did not come here to receive abuses from you. I have come here. She is telling something. Meanwhile, Lavinia came there in the dress generally means usually she wears whenever she travels. She came there with a suitcase and she sat there. The suitcase had an air of solid finality about it, and its lock leered at me bracely. I leaned from my chair with unaccustomed agility and sprang in front of my wife. I must conceal that awful phantom from her at any risk. She did not look at me or thank heaven behind me, but fixed her injured gaze upon the wastebasket as if to wrench dark secrets from it. I have come to tell you that I am leaving, she stack-toned. So here the lady Lavinia, as she got very angry on her husband, she came there telling that she is going to leave him. She took one suitcase, and along with that suitcase she is about to leave the house and leave a narrator and go from that place. As she got very upset the last night and this man did not try to convince her, finally she has come to a conclusion to leave the narrator and go forever to her grandmother's house. Oh, yes, yes, I agreed, flapping my arms about to attract attention from the corner. That's fine, great. So this man, even though he is tensed, even though he doesn't like his wife to leave his house and go, right away when she is telling that she is going forever, he agreed. The narrator is telling like this, oh, yes, yes, I agreed, flapping my arms about to attract attention from the corner. So what is he trying there? He wanted to attract the attention from the corner, expecting that the ghost will hide. He doesn't want the lady, his wife, to see the ghost. That's why he wanted to send his wife from that place to get rid that she should not see the ghost. So you want me to go, do you? She demanded. So wife, what is she expecting there? As she said that she is leaving the house and going, she is expecting her husband to request her not to go. Instead of that, this man readily accepted and telling that it's better you go. So again she is asking, so you want me to go? She demanded, telling, yeah, really, is it real that you want me to go? Sure, yes, right away. Change of air will do you good. So what the man is telling, yes, right away you better go. It's good if the air gets changed, it will change your mood also. It's good you go right away. I'll join you presently. If only she would go till Helen could depart. So what is he telling? Okay, now you go, I'll join you. So what is his actual intention? If he make his wife move from that place till the Helen gets disappeared. After that, anyhow, he will run back of her and he will please her. Keeping that in his mind, he is asking her to move from that place. I would have the devil of a time explaining afterward, of course, but anything would be better than to have Lavinia see a ghost. Why, that sensitive little woman couldn't bear to have a mouse say boo at her, and what would she say to a ghost in her own living room? So here what is he thinking in his mind? He is telling that okay, afterwards somehow I'll tell something and I'll convince Lavinia, but he doesn't want Lavinia to see the ghost in his living room, in her living room. Lavinia cast a cold eye upon me. You are acting very cruelly. She sniffed. You are concealing something from me. So Lavinia understood why this man is behaving like this. She got a doubt. That's why she is telling that you are acting very differently towards me. And she also understood that this man is trying to hide something from his wife. She understood. See here the sentence. You are concealing something from me. Concealing means keeping me away. You are trying to keep something away from me. You are trying to hide something from me. Just then the door opened and Gladolia called, Miss Hallock, I have come to tell you I see Dunn left this place. My wife turned her head a moment, but why Gladolia? I ain't staying round no place long with Dame Overboard contraptions, I see it of Hodu's eyes done gone is. So as you know, the slang of the servant maid is entirely different. She's telling that she want to leave the place and go from there. My wife turned her head a moment. But why, Gladolia? Is that all you have got to complain about? Lavinia inquired. Yes, ma'am. All right then, go back to the kitchen. You can use the board for kindling wood. So finally, the servant maid gave the complaint, and finally Lavinia accepted, and she said that she can use this Ovuza board for firewood. Oh, me touch that thing. No ma'am, never. I'll be the coon to burn it, I shouted. I'll be glad to burn it. So this man felt very happy as the wife accepted to burn the Ovuza board. She got angry. See what happened? She expected something else and she purchased the Ovuza board at a discount at a bargaining shop. But that thing, it is not happen. So out of anger, she asked the servant maid to burn the Ovuza board. This man felt very happy. Even the narrator also wants the same. So he is telling that I will burn the board. Gladolia heavy steps moved off kitchenward. So after receiving this, Gladolia said that okay, she went back to kitchen. Then my Lavinia turned waspishly to me again. John, there is not a bit of us trying to deceive me. What is it you are trying to conceal from me? So again she came back. She did not leave the incident what happening previously. Already Lavinia understood that the narrator is trying to hide something from her. Now again directly she questioned her husband. Tell, what is he trying to hide from her? Oh, me? Oh no. I lied elaborately, looking around to see if that dratted ghost was concealed enough. She was so big and I am rather a smallish man. But that was a bad move on my part. So he is telling openly, he is lying to his wife, observing around the room whether the ghost is totally hidden or not. With one eye he is observing around the room and he is directly lying to his wife. John, Lavinia demanded like a ward boss. You are hiding somebody in here. Who is it? I only waved Daniel and gurgled in my throat. She went on. It's bad enough to have you foot over the Ovuza board with that hussy. Oh, the affair was quite above board, I assure you, my love, I cried, leaping lithely, about to keep her from focusing her gaze behind me. So she understood. Finally, the narrator's wife mentioned that you are trying to hide someone here. The matter is not up to Ovuza boards, it is above Ovuza board. Who is that you are hiding here? So when she posed such a question, the narrator, he couldn't understand, he did not understand what to answer. So swallowing his throat, he is trying to say some lie, he is trying to lie something to his wife, but still. So this lady is questioning him directly, telling that, oh, the affair was quite above the board. It is not about the Ovuza board. The affair is quite above that. I assure you, my love. She is telling that, of course I love you. You don't hide anything from me. You can reveal the exact truth to me. I cried, leaping lithely, about to keep her from focusing her gaze behind me. So this man is telling that, I love you. Nothing is there like that. I am not hiding anything, and he is trying to hide the sight of his wife from the corners of the room, so that she should not see the ghost. She thrust me back with sudden muzzle. I will see who is behind you. Where is that Helen? So he is trying to hide something, so that the lady should not see what is hiding behind him. But this lady telling to the man that, let me see who is hiding behind you. Is that the Helen who is hiding behind you? Me, I am Helen, came from the ghost. When this discussion is going on between both of them, suddenly the ghost came forward, telling that, I am Helen. Lavinia looked at that apparition, that oval-eyed phantom, in plaid skirt and stiff skirt waist, with hair squeaked back and no powder on her nose. I threw a protecting husbandly arm about her to catch her when she should faint, but she didn't swoon. A bored, satisfied smile spread over her face. See here, the ghost came out, but this narrator got frightened like anything. Now he understood that this lady is going to faint seeing that ghost. But it is just ironical. It is the thing happened there is totally opposite what the narrator was thinking. Seeing the lady, narrator's wife had smile on her face. I thought you were Helen of Troy, she murmured. So what this lady is thinking that? She is thinking that it is the lady who is the real Helen of Troy. I used to be Helen of Troy, New York, said the ghost. And now I'll be moving along if you will excuse me. See you later. So now the ghost, it is not the real human being. She is not that beautiful also to look at. The ghost telling like that, I used to be the Helen of New York, telling like that, if you excuse me, I'll move from this place. With that, she telescoped briskly till we saw only her hand waving farewell. So telling like that, again the ghost got disappeared from that place. My Lavinia fell forgivingly into my arms. I kissed her once or twice fervently, and then I showered her aside. For I felt a sudden strong desire to write. The sheets of paper on my desk spread inevitably before me. I have got the bulliest plot for a ghost story, I cried. Finally, see, there is a initially the narrator was thinking that it will become a tragedy, but when the lady saw the ghost, she understood that it is not the real Ellen, and she understood what the mistake she had done, and they both came together, and finally the narrator got a ghost story, and when he got the mind of writing the story, so he took some papers and started writing his story.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.